To make a video, and on this video I want to be talking about what I call intuitive eating. Now, a lot of people have discussed this more in more recent years, and there's a lot more research coming out on it. A lot of people with their eating, they kind of fall in kind of three camps. They have this kind of boundaryless eating, which is kind of, you know, this kind of cycles of severe restriction and then binging, and then the next level up from that is the like hyper rigid kind of eating style where, you know, you weigh everything out, you track everything, everything's kind of self-monitored and stuff like that. And then the last stage is what I call, you know, intuitive eating or dietary intuitive eating, where, you know, you begin to learn what is in what. You understand, you know, the elements of macronutrients, micronutrients, fiber, water. You understand about calorie intake and stuff like this, and energy balance, to the point now, because you've been doing it so long, you can kind of backpedal it just a little bit, take some of the pressure off being so perfectionistic with your eating and stop being this kind of ultra rigid, you know, robot in terms of your eating. You can actually backpedal it just a little bit, take the pressure off. You know what's in there. You can kind of make calculated estimations with your food and stuff like that, to the point now where you don't really need to weigh things out as much, and you can kind of cruise along on autopilot and actually make better decisions with food and stuff like this without being so meticulous with actually tracking it and doing dietary self-monitoring. So I'm not neglecting that dietary self-monitoring doesn't have its place. I think especially if you're someone who really struggles to gain weight, you know, it's very good to know where you're at. If you are someone who really struggles in terms of if you have a massive appetite, or if you're very overweight and you struggle with getting leaner, I think especially in a fat loss phase it can be very beneficial, because now with fat loss it is usually harder for a lot of people. But if you have a very big appetite and stuff like this, if you have a very high metabolism or metabolic rate, you'll tend to overeat a lot more, and especially if you're exercising a lot as well, there is that tendency to overeat. So knowing where you are, dietary wise, you know, nutrition wise, it can really help, you know, knowing your intake and stuff like this. But you want to get to a place where you can actually kind of naturalize it a little bit more and kind of humanize your eating and stuff like that, because it shouldn't be like this, you know, forever long diet that you're on. Obviously you want to try and maintain a healthy lifestyle, but you know, it should be this phasic thing where, you know, you spend some time trying to gain some muscle, you spend some time trying to lose some fat, maybe going into a maintenance phase and stuff like that, but you learn about more your own body, you learn what's in food a lot more. Isn't this kind of rigid meal plan, you do it every single day and you maintain that for the rest of your life, and then you fall off the wagon and you try and get back on it. You know, you have to begin to internalize the principles of what I call, you know, red pill dieting, or if you want to call it just flexible dieting, flexible eating. You have to get to the point where it just becomes who you are. It gets to the point where, you know, your daily eating is not this kind of hyper ultra perfectionistic style of eating. It's actually to a point where now you can improvise more with it, and you can be more flexible without it really damaging your results. You want to get to the point that you can look at food in a certain way and you know what's in what. You've educated yourself enough on it, you've battle tested yourself enough in actually losing weight and gaining muscle, to the point where you've been tracking a while, but now you know what's in what. That's the point you want to get to, because that is more conducive to a healthy lifestyle. Psychologically, that is more healthy. Socially, it is more healthy. You don't have to weigh things out and get your MyFitnessPal. By all means, if that is something that is like just in your kind of personality, to be more like you, to more systematized and stuff like that, totally fine. But personally for me, it's more of a phasic thing, and I think that is far more healthy in the long run. It's far less stressful. A lot of the studies show that most people actually do not usually carry out tracking over long periods of time. If anything, it can make it more stressful actually getting in shape. So if that is you, then I recommend trying to go on intuitive eating, you know, working off your hunger levels, knowing what's in what in terms of macronutrient profiling and stuff like that, and knowing about the basic laws of energy balance and stuff like this. That is far more, in the long run, it's actually gaining kind of what I call your nutritional intelligence. That is far more conducive to a healthy lifestyle in the long run. So if you enjoyed the video, subscribe. If you've liked the video, share it with your friends, and I'll speak to you real soon.